This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
The Revolution with Juan McCartney is sponsored by Burger King, Commonwealth Bank, J.S. Johnson, NUA Insurance Agents and Brokers, Bronze Electric Motors, Season of Love, and Wendy's.
Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Revolution here on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. My name is Juan McCartney. So good to have you with us. Today we're going to be talking about what the Prime Minister had to say in the House of Assembly as relates to the pharmacists, the grocers, the price controls. He spoke when he was putting forward a resolution to change the minimum wage. And we're going to listen to him in just a moment. Before we do that, this may not be important to a lot of you out there, but I want to go ahead and have a moment of silence because I saw yesterday that Takeoff from the Migos was killed in Houston. And I'm going to be unapologetic about this. I love the Migos. They're my favorite rap group that still is together, you know. We could talk about Tribe Called Quest, all these others. Love the Migos. Very upsetting. And this is someone who reads about rappers being killed every other week. On the outskirts of a dice game, shot dead. These guys are multimillionaires. There's no reason for them to be at a dice game where people have guns. And it's just a tragic story that speaks to a deficiency in black culture in the United States of America that is historic and is influenced by a lot of other factors, including systemic racism, but also just a lack of accountability and a lack of being able to separate yourself from where you're from after you've made it. They made it. They had number one songs, millions and millions of dollars. Right? They talk about it all the time. And they came up out of Atlanta and made it to the pinnacle of success, but still you hang around the same elements that you struggle so hard to get away from. And it's just a very tragic story. And Takeoff is the best rapper in the Migos, in my opinion. Just Takeoff. If you don't know who the Migos are, I don't know what to tell you. Bad and Bougie. That's probably one of their more popular songs, Motorsport. There's Takeoff, Offset, Quavo. All right, so Quavo is Takeoff's uncle, and Offset is Quavo and Takeoff's cousin, and they grew up together. Offset's married to Cardi B, and I'm not trying to do this to delve into pop culture. It just struck me as an alarm for what is going on in hip hop culture in the United States, which is mainly black culture. And it's regrettable, and we have some parallels here. We don't have a huge music industry where people get rich from rapping here, but we do have a gun culture among black youth, a lot of them here in the Bahamas as well. It's not specific to the Bahamas. It's in America. It's in Central America among youth and underprivileged and people of color, particularly black people in Central America, South America. It's in Trinidad. It's in Jamaica. There's something that somewhere along the line over the past 50 years, something short-circuited, and we got to try to figure out how to get out of the cycle. But in any event, hopefully Takeoff's death will not be a waste, and people will start to really examine what is going on, and there'll start to be some accountability in what we celebrate as a culture, and I'm guilty of it too. In that the Migos talked about dealing drugs and killing people, and I was a big fan. But I can separate the art from real life. Sometimes it gets blended, because if you're living in an environment where violence is pervasive, and you're tired of it, then you go, well, celebrating this sort of music probably is bad. And I had to make a decision several years ago about how much of it I really would connect to, because I was a big fan of Rick Ross, and I've been a big fan of hip-hop for a long time. But I covered crime here in New Providence for years and years, and I see these young men killing each other over and over and over and over and over again. But I listen to the American hip-hop, and it's like, well, they're speaking about something that seems removed, even though I lived in the States for a while. And then I saw Rick Ross come to Baintown and shot a video in Baintown, and I'm not joking about this. One of the streets he was shooting the video on in Baintown, they did like a quick camcorder, I think it was several years ago. I covered a double homicide there. And I said to myself, boy, we're not as far removed from this as I would like to think. And I had to struggle for a long time to go, do I support it? And then I thought, I can enjoy the music without endorsing the message. So I don't support dealing drugs. I don't support this gun culture that we have, particularly among young people. And what's so insane is these rappers, these rich rappers are dying left and right. Like, you made it. There's something that we got to figure out. We got to figure out why this is happening in American hip-hop culture, and also we got to figure out what's going on, what parallels exist in our own cultures, why this is going on. So we have Trinidad just recorded 500 murders a few days ago. 500. Trinidad has over 1 million people, but that's still much higher per capita than here. Jamaica's, I think, past 1,000 now. All right? There's a murder problem in several other Caribbean and Guyana, and Trinidad is also, I want to say racially diverse, but, there's Indians, there's blacks, and then there's between the two mainly. But there's not much racial distinction in Trinidad. There's young people and gun culture, and Indians are involved, and black people are involved, and it's a mess. So we gotta start figuring these things out. We gotta figure out if we've gone too far in our celebration of violence by saying we want to keep to the reality of things. Because if we had a rap industry in the Bahamas and the majority of rappers came from the inner city, I wouldn't suspect they would speak about much other than what goes on around them, which is drug dealing and death a lot. Abuse, etc. So we'll have that conversation further another day, but I just wanted to speak about Takeoff. A lot of you may not know who Takeoff is. If you're under 30, you probably do. But he was a very successful rap artist, part of the Migos, and he just got shot dead. He wasn't even in the dice game. First, if I'm a multimillionaire, I'm not being in no dice game. In fact, if I'm broke, I'm not being in a dice game, because I've seen so many times where dice games go awry and people get hurt, people lose their lives. There's something about it. The dice, the gambling, fueled with liquor. You're a multimillionaire, you want to gamble, go to Vegas, right? You don't got to go to a dice game in Houston. Anyway, it's very sad to me, so I'll take a moment of silence here. All right, shout out to Quavo. I wish his family the best. All right, let's listen to Prime Minister. So Prime Minister today talking about what they're doing about the minimum wage and price controls, et cetera. And we'll talk about what he said in the speech, but I don't know that the speech, I'll let you listen to it. I'll let you listen to it before I give my analysis of it, because I don't want to color it for you. Tell me what it is what comes across to you. So let's listen. It's about 10, 12 minutes. Let's listen to it, and we'll listen to it as much as we can, and then we'll go from there. All right? Play that for me, Arlie, please.
Madam Speaker, I think we all agree that the cost of living in the Bahamas has been far too high for far too long. But we have never seen anything like the last 5 years. Covering daily expenses has really been so challenging for Bahamian families. When just getting by is so hard, ladders out of poverty suddenly seem a lot steeper. Life in the middle class becomes a lot more precarious. When you are struggling just to keep it together, economic dignity and economic security can seem so far out of reach. Consider what Bahamians have faced. In 2017, a shock 60% increase in VAT. In 2019, a stagnant economy, no significant new investment, and billions in new borrowing. And then, Hurricane Dorian, a tragedy that caused unimaginable suffering and destruction, and also caused thousands to flee Abaco and Grand Bahama for New Providence and other islands within our archipelago. In 2020, a pandemic led to closed borders, a curfew, and lockdown after lockdown, sometimes imposed with little or no warning, devastating tourism and local businesses. Many Bahamians were harassed and fined for trying just to survive. For much of 2021, an extended curfew, travel visas for Bahamians, an erratic and unpredictable competent authority, and closed schools made it hard for Bahamians to return to work or thrive. Finally, in September of 2021, a new day. A new day. And with our new government came the lifting of the curfew, the ending of the travel visas, free, remember this now, free COVID testing. What they said? It couldn't happen, right? Free surgical medical grade masks. Expunging records of minor breaches of the emergency orders. And a concerted, determined effort to reopen schools and the economy. Yet, we must not forget, as the country started to recover, just as many Bahamians started to have money coming in for the first time in a long time, a global inflation crisis led to prices rising faster than they have in 40 years. The average cost of a one-bedroom apartment in New Providence is now even more out of reach for the average young Bahamian. When Bahamians fill up their tanks, they watch whatever they have earned drain away at the pump. Global supply chain interruptions have made prices of nearly everything we import higher. Madam Speaker, my government cannot prevent global events from having a local impact. We cannot. What we can do, however, is stand in the gap and ease the burdens of the Bahamian people. It has been clear to me, for a long time, and it should be clear to anyone who's paying attention, that the minimum wage was far too low. When we came to office, we immediately started planning and negotiating to raise the minimum wage. We did not hesitate. And we did not let the fiscal and economic crises we inherited stand in our way. Madam Speaker, with the passage of this resolution, the minimum wage will increase from $210 to $260 per week. In the public sector, the raise is retroactive, going back to July. In the private sector, the increase will begin in January. The extra months were to allow, and is to allow, businesses to plan and prepare. $50 more a week, each week, will not eliminate the economic strain on families. We acknowledge that. $50 more each week will not eliminate the economic strain on families, but it is something. $20 more a month towards food or school fees or rent or peace of mind is something. It is progress on the path to a livable wage. And as I've said, it's been a long time since the minimum wage was last raised. In fact, 7 years ago, in 2015. And you know who did that in 2015? We did it. And we got to do it again. Those opposite didn't even consider raising the minimum wage during their time in office. Didn't even consider it. And guess what? They did not support an increase in 2015, and they are full of complaints now. They reflexively oppose anything we do. So no matter how beneficial it is to the people, it's a reflex action to oppose. The party of no opposed national health insurance. Remember that?
Independence.
Not now.
They even opposed the creation of the Defense Force.
Yep. I remember. Creation of a sovereign state.
I've been around, you know.
Creation of a sovereign state.
That's true. Remind me of that.
Yes.
They opposed us becoming an independent sovereign state.
Yes. Backward now.
That's the DNA of those officers. You know, we were very careful. Madam Speaker, we were very careful to negotiate a minimum wage that would not slow down job growth. We are very mindful of pressures facing Bahamian businesses. Similarly, when we added diapers and more food items to our price control list, we are signaling to businesses that we expect the savings from reduced customs duties to be passed on to Bahamians. Business owners will still make a profit, just a little less than they would otherwise. We have listened to their concerns, and we have been flexible about some of the details. We will continue to review the impact of price controls on both consumers and businesses. But the bottom line is, the cost of this global inflation crisis must be a shared burden, not one that falls primarily on Bahamian families just working to get by. We have to share it, man. That's my cry to all involved. We can't just leave it to the Bahamian families, like I said, who are just working to get by, sitting at the table deciding which bill I should pay this week or not pay this week. What has to suffer? What has to be left behind? That's all I'm asking. Let's share this burden. Madam Speaker, the new price controls on medications are in effect. Pharmacies will remain open, and we expect pharmacies to come into full compliance in the coming days. In raising the minimum age and expanding price controls, my government is holding firm in protecting the interests of the Bahamian people. We believe that this increase in the minimum wage will provide some measure of relief for working Bahamians, while a growing economy, and I repeat this, while a growing economy will allow businesses to adjust successfully. The minimum wage increase is part of a larger set of policies intended to relieve the cost of living pressures, including reduced or eliminated customs duties on key items such as food, solar supplies, and building supplies. Additional price control inspectors to ensure compliance. Free Wi-Fi in parks across the country. An emphasis on affordable housing. A major expansion of renewable energy, which we intend to do and we're working assiduously towards. And a historic investment in homegrown food. And announcements will be made in respect to those very shortly as to what we intend to do in that regard. At the heart of all our policies, Madam Speaker, of all our policies is the belief that every Bahamian deserves economic dignity and security. That is why we prioritized public service promotions and regularizations. And labor agreements with unions, including teachers and nurses.
That's right.
That's why we provided relief grants to those who were particularly hit hard by the lockdowns. That's why we are investing in small businesses and in expanding education and training. That's why we are diversifying the economy to broaden and deepen opportunities. Madam Speaker, our goal for the Bahamian economy goes beyond recovery. I don't want to turn back the clock because, let's be honest, there's never been a time when our economy created enough opportunities for Bahamian advancement and ownership. That's the truth.
Yeah.
Returning to the past economy isn't the goal.
No.
Creating a new, more inclusive economy is the goal. Many Bahamians have achieved remarkable success, but thousands more can and should join them.
That's it.
It is my fervent prayer that we all find common ground in a shared commitment to lifting up Bahamians and building a stronger and more resilient Bahamas, so that we could all say, may God continue to bless our Bahamaland.
Thank you, Honourable Member. The Chair recognizes the Honourable Member for St. Barnabas.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, just for the record, and I didn't want to interrupt the Prime Minister, this conversation about minimum wage, the Free National Movement has stopped. The Free National Movement, Madam Speaker, the Free National Movement.
All right, that's Shannon Cartwright just talked about how the FNM instituted the minimum wage, which is true. All right, so let's talk about the Prime Minister and what he said. You got a couple of minutes where you could go to break? Or what do we do? Anyway, let's talk about it real quick. Here's what jumped out at me, okay? So, well, the first thing is the Prime Minister sounds more diplomatic, let's say, than Halkitis sounded yesterday. Halkitis sounded like, y'all about to piss me off, right? So here's the law. We changed the law. Y'all need to abide by the law. Now, the thing about it, I don't know how you can be like, the store's gonna open. You can't make no store open. You know that, right? You can't make no business operate. Anyway, here's what jumped out at me overall. Because he said this in more than one way. So he said, shared burden. Let's share this burden. Now, I'm going to say this. I'm going to also be diplomatic. He said, let's share this burden. He said, let's find common ground, right? I'm going to say this as diplomatically as I can. That is a fallacious argument that the government is somehow sharing a burden that the businesses will have to undertake. It's fallacious, all right? It's fallacious. It's a fallacy. It's not a real argument. It's not based on anything that makes any sense. So the government is not a business. If the government of the Bahamas were a business, and I'm just saying government of the Bahamas, I live in the Bahamas, but let's just say governments overall. If the government of the Bahamas was a business that had to produce a profit and loss and were accountable and in a real meaningful way other than every 5 years to the stakeholders in that business, it would have failed long ago. If the government is a business, then the business that is the Commonwealth of the Bahamas government has never turned a profit. If the government were a business, it would have a balance sheet swimming in a sea of red ink, debt. That's how you're keeping the government going, by borrowing in our name, by taxing us to keep the government going. So the government's not sharing the burden of the business community. You can raise funds for the government in ways that businesses cannot. Pharmacies don't get to have unlimited lines of credit at banks. The government has a $200 million plus overdraft at the Royal Bank of Canada. RBC doesn't allow businesses to do that when they don't make a profit, when their books show that they've never once had a surplus, that they've always spent more money than they take in. After 50 years. So you're not sharing any burden. That's nonsense. You're raising our fuel charge to keep BPL afloat. You put taxes back on breadbasket items and other things. But the government of the Bahamas reducing customs duties from, say, something that's 5% to 0% or 15% to 5%, you're not taking no hit that's going to see the government fail. You'll make it up in some other area, like real property tax, where who are you counting on to be compliant with that? The banks. You have a law that you're contemplating bringing into effect where you make you take rent from businesses in order to pay real property tax arrears. Now, the government needs taxes. I'm not going to dispute that. But you're not sharing any burden with us. You're talking about the government's minimum wage going to be retroactive. Well, who pays for that? The public. But who pays for the minimum wage for businesses? The business. And the business can't compel anyone to give them any money, but the government can. So you're not sharing anything. If you wanted to be symbolic about it, you could take the VAT off the breadbasket items, the medicine, the medical procedures, as people have asked. But the notion that the government is sharing some sort of burden by eliminating some customs duties when it has reaped a windfall in the escalation in fuel prices, as well as the escalation in construction supplies, but yet tells a business it can only have so much of a profit margin on an item that's imported that they do not control the price of. You comparing those two things doesn't make any sense. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
If you were exposed to COVID-19, have symptoms, or traveled recently, get tested so that you can have peace of mind about your status. Just visit one of our convenient locations on New Providence at the University of the Bahamas or Golden Gates Plaza, weekdays 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturdays 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. On Eleuthera at the Three Island Dock, Mondays through Thursdays 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Fridays and Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Sundays, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. On Exuma at the Regatta Park, weekdays, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Sundays, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. On Abaco at Maxwell Food Store, Mondays through Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The COVID-19 test results will be ready in 15 minutes, and the tests are free.
This message is brought to you by PAHO WHO and the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
You do coffee your way. Double shot decaf, cappuccino.
Light roast, Colombian, no milk.
You do vacations your way.
Hiking boots, tent, mountains.
5-star hotels and theater.
And now you can do insurance your way.
Online.
Email.
Chat.
WhatsApp.
Or in branch. For home, car, travel, boat, or business insurance, do it anyway with NUA Insurance Agents and Brokers. Visit NUAinsurance.com, call, or stop by a branch today.
We're good for you.
We know how important collecting your money can be to the success of your business. Start your relationship with Fidelity today so that we can show you the many options available to you with our merchant services. From click and pay options online to merchant terminals and e-commerce options. We're here to help your business succeed. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit any of our branches.
J.S. Johnson Insurance Agents are the best. Reliable service, we've been on the scene, protecting since 1919. J.S. Johnson Insurance has the test. You'll always cover me. J.S. Johnson Insurance, peace of mind.
used to think of the bank as my personal ATM machine. If I wanted a new car, new furniture, a weekend trip to Miami, no problem. Just max out the credit card or top up my loan. I was a big baller until I realized that 75% of my salary was going to pay back all those loans. Fidelity's personal financial coaching was the best solution. Fidelity gave me a plan with a debt consolidation loan that has a built-in savings that pays 5% interest. I now only have one low monthly payment, plus money in my pocket. Give Fidelity Bank a call at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit any of Fidelity's locations or visit a website at fidelitygroup.com.
Breakfast just got better at Wendy's. Introducing the Breakfast Biggie Bag. Enjoy a double sausage muffin with 2 square sausage patties, a freshly cracked egg, and cheese served on a toasted English muffin, a medium waffle fries, and an orange juice for only $5.25, VAT inclusive. And an apple pie for just $1 more.
Say what?
At Wendy's, better breakfast is all day. Offers valid in participating locations. Wendy's, different inside and out.
The biggest event of the year comes to Nassau, Bahamas, and the tickets are selling fast. It's a Season of Love concert. Performing live, Gary Savage, Wayne Wonder, and The Hill. Saturday, December 3rd, inside the Thomas Robinson National Stadium, Nassau, Bahamas. Tickets are available now at all your Cash and Go locations. Or log on to cashandgobahamas.com. Select the menu option, and then select services. And press tickets to be part of the biggest event of the year. Or purchase your tickets by downloading the Cash and Go app, or visit your local Cash and Go store by selecting the locator option, where you'll find a physical location near you. It's the Season of Love concert, presented by Excalibur Entertainment, YBE Promotions, and All Star Productions. Sponsored by Bahamas Air, Chef Creole, Masqueraders, Cash and Go. Family Island discounted flights are available on Bahamas Air. Saturday, December 3rd, inside the Thomas Robinson National Stadium, Nassau. Gates open at 8 p.m. Be there.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to The Revolution here on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. My name is Juan McCartney. Good to have you with us. All right, we were talking about the Prime Minister's speech. Now, we'll get into a bit of it. On the other side of the 1 o'clock news, we got to speak to the Season of Love people, I believe it is, for a little bit, and then we'll continue with our discussion. So, the theme I get that he's trying to convey is a shared burden. The government's asking the private sector to share this burden with us. I don't buy that at all. Sorry. Let's get into some of your stuff. And we'll talk about some of the other things that he said in his speech. But just overall, the shared burden, I don't buy it. I don't think the government is sharing the burden. I think the government is placing a lot of the burden on the business community. Has the government decided that it's going to stop spending at a particular rate? No. Has the government decided it's going to stop hiring? No. You just said you hired more price control inspectors, although I need to see that to believe it. Has the government said we're going to take any austerity measures? Not that I'm aware of. So what are you suffering from? The customs duties on chicken? What are you? Where are we with? Come on. It says if the government's reducing customs rates, they are sharing the burden. You're discounting that move does not diminish the fact that they're doing it. Sure, they'll have to more diligently pursue other taxes already in place, but cutting customs rates definitely affects their bottom line. Don't diminish this just to prove your point. I mean, look, I mean, it's just, okay, fine. Let me explain it to you like this. The government cut customs rates on chicken, okay, and some other food items, right? A few dozen. They were already almost nothing, all right? They were already very low. We're talking about from 5% to 0% in some cases. Is that foregoing revenue? Certainly. But just as you say, the government's making it up elsewhere. They're not taking that hit across the board, and that's it. Explain to me why the projection for the collection of taxes went up despite the cutting of customs duty rates because they know they're going to go get it somewhere else. So they're not foregoing revenue at the end of the day, at the bottom line of it all on the budget. They're just saying we're trying to take customs off those things to ease the pricing on it. Now, that clearly didn't work because now you're doing this, but fine. You want to give them credit for doing that? No problem. But at the end of the day, the burden is not shared equally. It says every business has different levels of costs. You can set prices for businesses not knowing all that. You can't set prices for businesses not knowing all that. I do agree that businesses should be fair with pricing if VAT has been discontinued on items or duty is decreased. Sometimes the consumer does not feel that flow through. However, in my opinion, I think the government should let competition reign and not dictate price levels. Yeah, I'm a free market kind of guy. I think that some price control makes sense. But what they're doing with the grocery stores, I don't agree with. This says, Juan, please tell Brave I don't need a reminder of the last 5 years, one of which was his. And he needs to run the country better. The honeymoon is over. He needs to get busy. I'm going to say something about that, too, when we come back. I'm going to talk about the rest of the speech, too. I have some other points about the speech. But just the notion of this shared burden. Like, so when I write speeches, right? And so I give speeches X, Y, Z, and people ask me to look at their speeches, right? And I do term papers also. Essays for a fee, if you'd like. UB students, I've seen your work. You could use my help. When you're writing a speech, you want a theme, all right? You want an overarching theme. You want someone to walk away with a feeling, with a notion, right? And so that's what the Prime Minister's trying to sell, the notion that the government, I want to partner with you. I want to share the burden with you. Come on, business community. Don't be so recalcitrant. I want to share with, come on, man. We all got to make sacrifices. The government's doing it. Business community, you should do it. And that's kind of the theme he wants to convey, clearly. I just don't buy it. Says, yes, Juan, the government is gaslighting the business community. Sounds similar to Minnis, where's your soul speech? Yeah, right. Where's your soul, player? Says, Juan, sometimes when the PM gives these speeches, he thinks he's speaking to the average person. They're not trying to work and come together for the betterment of the Bahamian people. Says, Juan, PM Davis is sounding and looking like former PM Minnis. Remember, Dr. Minnis, where's your heart? Where's your soul statement to businesses at the early stages of the pandemic? Now PM Davis is urging businesses to share the burden. Remember how we accused Dr. Minnis of picking winners and losers by determining which businesses were allowed to open and which businesses had to close? Now PM Davis is cherry-picking which businesses will survive and which will fail by cutting into pharmacies and food wholesalers and retailers' profit margins. This is not looking good for the Davis administration. So let me say this. I was going to get into this after we talk to our people, and we'll do this as well. But after the whole shared burden thing, I do have some notes on the speech. And listen, one of the notes I have before we go to the news break is I'm a simple man. Yes? You remind me of Minnis's poor leadership and his nonsense during the pandemic, and I kind of get back on board with you. It's an effective tactic. It still works on me a year out. Now, it may not work 2-3 years from now, but I'm back on. You talk about, remember the lockdowns and the curfew and the minute who could open, who can't, and yeah, okay, I'm with you. Yeah, y'all ain't as bad as that. I'll ride with you a little longer. So that's an effective tactic. I wouldn't stop using it if I were him. All right, let's go to a break. We'll be back. We'll talk to the Season of Love people, and we'll talk more about what the Prime Minister had to say.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Beulah gal, can you believe this? We are now the patrol queens of the neighborhood.
We now large and in charge, so we need to check out what's going on in everybody's yard. What about that gun that we know that Junior and his homeboys just ran out? Can we report that too?
Of course we can.
But we could be in deep trouble if they find out.
We need to report what we see, Beulah. When you call Crime Stoppers, they just answer your call in Miami.
So then we can report everything? Guns, where they hiding the drugs, who shoot who part of which gang, or who disturbing the peace with the loud music and the motorcycles.
Then our neighborhood will be the best in the Bahamas, and everybody gonna want to come live here. And then our house price will go up, gal.
So what we waiting on? What's the number?
If you see something, say something. Let us all pitch in and stop the crime before it's your time. Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands. Or text us through the Crack Crime Bahamas app. Stop the crime before it's your time.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Every time I think of saying goodbye, everything inside me says it's a lie. So I can't, no I can't, no I can't. Yes, yes, you've been with me right through the rough, and you never said I had enough. So I can't, no I can't, no I can't. Yeah, honey, I'd like to repay you for damages done. I know I won't be able to repair it all, 'cause I lost count. And with all the time you've been hurting, you're still so fine, and it's blowing my mind. I know I should back and walk away and leave you nothing to remind, but I can't. Oh, I can't. No, I can't. No, honey, no.
Just wish I was man enough to come out and say it to you. You know?
Like to repay you for damages done. I won't be able to repair it all, 'cause I lost count. And with all the time I see you hurting.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to The Revolution here on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. My name is Juan McCartney, so good to have you with us. We're talking now with the gentlemen one of them, who is putting on the season of love. The season of love. And you just heard Barris Hammond playing in the background, and I didn't realize this, but Barris Hammond is coming in. You guys are bringing in Barris Hammond for the season of love. That sounds fantastic. So sitting with me is Ronald LeBrant. He's from Excalibur Productions, and also YBE Productions is putting on this thing too, and All Star Productions. Welcome to the Revolution, Ronald. Tell us about what's going on with Season of Love. This is happening in December.
Good afternoon, Bahamas. How you doing? My name is Ronald LeBranch. I represent Excalibur Productions. We have the Season of Love coming December 3rd at the Thomas A. Robins Stadium, inside the stadium. And we bringing in Barris Hammond, Wayne Wonder, and DeVille.
Wayne Wonder too.
Yeah.
What? All right, now we talking. All right, Barris Hammond, Wayne Wonder, and who else?
DeVille.
DeVille. Okay. All right, great. Okay, so this is happening December 3rd at the Thomas A. Robinson Stadium, and you're also offering a package with Bahamas Air to fly people in from Freeport, Abaco, Exuma, Eleuthera, as well as Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Orlando, and Turks and Caicos. So tell us about that.
Yes. What we as a team, YBE All Star Productions, they also my colleagues bringing in Barris. What we decided to do was sit down and we reached out to Bahamas Air because our plan was to bring as much people to this event as possible because you had Barris coming into Nassau and the family islands are always left out. So we said, how could we incorporate something to bring them in? So we decided to reach out to some of the executives at Bahamas Air and told them what our plan was. And they was like, hey, we on board. And they like, look, let's make it bigger than that. Let's go for Fort Lauderdale. Let's go for Miami. Let's go for Turks and Caicos. And yeah, that's what we did. And we're now here, and everybody's hearing about it. We have promotions running in Miami. We have a Chef Creole from Miami that's a sponsor.
Okay.
Have you ever been to Chef Creole restaurant in Miami? They also located in Miami International Airport.
Oh, okay. I haven't been to Chef Creole in Miami.
Yeah.
All right, excellent. So you're selling packages. So you're selling airline and hotel, and that's subject to taxes and fees. And you can book your packages at cashandgobahamas.com, or you can do it at Cash and Go locations.
Yes. What the packages consist of is called a fly-out package. Once you purchase your ticket from Cash and Go, you will receive a link to go into Bahamas Air and get a discount to fly out. Also, we had incorporated Margaritaville that was given their discount once purchased. Unfortunately, what happened, they pretty much almost booked out Margaritaville, so we're trying to incorporate other hotels to accommodate for this big and very special event.
Yeah, that's going to be Wayne Wonder and Barris. That's solid.
Yeah.
All right, and DeVille. Yeah. Okay, so you could travel dates are December 1st through 5th, and you can book your package. All right, excellent. So when's the last time Barris Hammond was there? It got to be to me, it would seem like almost a decade, but I know he comes here a lot.
Not really. I think the last time, from what I recall, you had Fresh Entertainment that bought him in, I think, on 2016.
Oh, Lord, it was that.
And then,
wow.
And I think he came probably after that, maybe, I don't want to get it wrong, 17 or 18. And from there, we haven't heard from him.
Yeah, haven't heard from him. No. And I think before that, because he used to kind of come.
Yes, he used to come consistently.
The pandemic, right?
I think it was Above the Rim used to bring him for Night of Love.
Right.
Since then, like I said, I think 16 and 17 was his last performance here in Nassau.
So have you've spoken with him? How's he feel?
Oh, yeah, definitely, man. He's in good shape. He did a United States tour. He would have been Philadelphia, Atlanta, Charlotte. He performed in Orlando, and he still got the energy, man. He sold out at almost all of those events. He was selling. He sold out.
Yeah, I imagine the same will happen here again. Well, this is a great initiative you guys are doing. So you still got a few weeks, but I'd imagine tickets are going pretty fast. And the hotel accommodations are going to go fast as well because it starts right after Thanksgiving is when the Christmas season heats back up.
Yes, tickets are going excellent. As a matter of fact, we just stopped the early bird tickets October 31st. We had some early birds discount, and we stopped those October 31st. And the tickets are looking real good. We also have something called Sky Lounges, which is Sky Boot. We had 20 available. Now we are down to 3. Those are
What's a Sky Booth?
Oh, well, we call it the Love Experience. What it is that if you are an executive and you want to experience 5-star, the Sky Boot's are one that you could take your team and you could purchase anywhere from 40 individuals up to 10 to 40 individuals, and they're pretty much expensive. They starting from $5,000, and the top tier is $30,000. And believe it or not, Juan, the top tier is gone.
Really? The $30,000 tier?
$30,000
Ain't nobody called me or invited me or nothing yet. They must be saving
that's
it.
gone.
Yeah. So what's the accommodation going to be like? It's going to be like regular, like VIP? How do you got it set up?
How we set up is we have VIP, Platinum, Diamond, and all access. So, and then we got the deluxe table. That's for couples. 2 couples could come into that deluxe tables. We have those available if you want seating for 4. And then there's a Sky Booth. So all access is pretty much you in front of the stage. You're pretty much paying for real estate. Those tickets is going for $225. Going back now, Diamond. Those tickets, we got to check. I got to check to see the prices to make sure I don't give no wrong information. But those tickets are going for $175, and you have Platinum. Those tickets are going. My notes are kind of off, but those tickets are going for $150, and then there's the $85 for VIP.
Excellent. All right. So tell us exactly where we can get tickets. And we know we can book the packages at Cash and Go locations, and you can go online to cashandgobahamas.com. Where else can you get tickets?
Well, it's only one spot. Cash and Go.
That's it.
Yeah, Cash and Go. You could walk into any Cash and Go, purchase digital tickets, or you could go to www.cashandgobahamas.com, and you could purchase it on your phone. You download the app, and you could purchase those on your phone. Just making some corrections with the ticket sales. Sorry about that, folks. Okay, we have all access tickets going for $225. You have Diamond going for $175.
Right.
You have Platinum going for $125, and you have VIP going for $85.
All right, good.
Yeah.
Boy, good thing you did that.
Yeah, I just
They
cleared
will
it up.
come to you and go, but you said McCartney.
Yeah.
They'll argue with you.
Yeah.
All right, excellent. Well, this sounds great. And this is actually something I've not seen this done this way, where people are now offering to have a package where people fly into Nassau, get the hotel room, get the flight, and then you go to the concert. I think that's an excellent thing, and this is a great start to the holiday season.
Yeah.
Make it feel normal again, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Season of Love, fly-out package with Bahamas Air. It's happening December 3rd, 2022. It is Excalibur Productions, YBE, and All-Star Productions. They're partnering with Cash and Go, where you can buy the tickets and you can also book the packages. All right? Anything else you want to let us know?
Yes. Those who are interested on the Sky Lounges, we call them the Love Experience. We have 3 left. They could contact 427-811. You can also contact 805-9671. And we have an international number, U.S. 407-692-4436. Those are for the Sky Lounges. Also, the deluxe table. You could contact those numbers for more information. And you could also contact those same numbers if you have any information in regards to Season of Love. So you ladies, go get your hair done. Go get your nails done. If you have your husband, if you're celebrating an anniversary, we could accommodate you. A birthday, we could accommodate you. It's a very special night for those that's in the mood of love. You know,
Right.
Trust me, bro. It's gonna serenade the air.
Absolutely.
With love, you know.
Right.
So
For
that's
sure.
where we at.
All right, great. Ronald LeBrant, thanks for coming on.
Thank
We
you
look
for
forward
having
to the Season of Love. You can hear the commercials. They're playing. And you can come check it out. I think it's going to be a really special night. I always love to see Barris Hammond.
All right, thank you for having me, Juan.
Absolutely. Okay, we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Oh, what a night. What a night, what a night. Oh gosh, what a night. I feel good when you're wrapped up in my arms, dancing to a reggae song. Feel good, feel good. I feel good, 'cause your perfume isn't loud, and only I can talk about. Feel good, feel good. You feel like velvet rubbing over my skin, and when your hair dances under my chin, I wish we were alone, baby, just the two of us. Yes, every move you make gives me a rush. Whoa, oh. Wine some more and show me that love unconditionally. Make believe we're alone, just you and me. Take the problems, leave them behind. Don't let it show. Go, baby, go, baby, go, baby, go, baby, go. I feel good when you're wrapped up in my arms, dancing to a reggae song. Feel good, feel good. I feel good, 'cause your perfume isn't loud, that only I can talk about.
If you were exposed to COVID-19, have symptoms, or traveled recently, get tested so that you can have peace of mind about your status. Just visit one of our convenient locations on New Providence at the University of the Bahamas or Golden Gates Plaza, weekdays 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturdays 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. On Eleuthera at the Three Island Dock, Mondays through Thursdays 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., Fridays and Saturdays 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Sundays 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. On Exuma at the Regatta Park, weekdays 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., Saturdays 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Sundays 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. On Abaco at Maxwell Food Store, Mondays through Saturdays 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The COVID-19 test results will be ready in 15 minutes, and the tests are free.
This message is brought to you by PAHO WHO and the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Burger King wants you to ride into the holidays in style with a brand new 2022 BYD Han all-electric sedan from Easy Car Sales. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Just upgrade your favorite combo for one ticket, or double your chances with a King combo, or triple your chance to win with the purchase of a BK family deal. It's electric at Burger King this holiday, where you get the chance to win a 2022 BYD Han EV sedan when you upgrade your combo at Burger King Nassau, where taste is king.
The biggest event of the year comes to Nassau, Bahamas, and the tickets are selling fast. It's a season of love concert. Performing live, there is Sammy, Wayne Wonder, and The Hill. Saturday, December 3rd, inside the Thomas Robinson National Stadium, Nassau, Bahamas. Tickets are available now at all your Cash and Go locations, or log on to cashandgobahamas.com. Select the menu option, and then select services, and press tickets to be part of the biggest event of the year. Or purchase your tickets by downloading the Cash and Go app, or visit your local Cash and Go store by selecting the locator option, where you'll find a physical location near you. It's the Season of Love concert, presented by Excalibur Entertainment, YBE Promotions, and All-Star Productions. Sponsored by Bahamas Air, Chef Creole, Masqueraders, Cash and Go. Family Island discounted flights are available on Bahamas Air. Saturday, December 3rd, inside the Thomas Robinson National Stadium, Nassau. Gates open at 8 p.m. Be there.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So good to have you with us. Welcome back to The Revolution. I'm Juan McCartney. The Prime Minister's speech, let's continue talking about it. Okay, so I all shared burden, common ground kind of thrust of the whole speech. I will say he struck a more diplomatic tone than Halkitis did yesterday. And as I had mentioned, I do believe that bringing up Menace's poor governance is an effective tool to refocus the public, although some of you disagree with that. For me, it's still an effective tool. And so overall, to me, it was fine. I didn't buy his overall thrust. And I wanted to point out a couple of things. Okay, so one of the first things I'll point out is that they're passing a resolution to increase the minimum wage, right? So I don't think that anyone should be particularly surprised by this. They did promise this on the campaign trail, and they are fulfilling what they said they would do. So that to me isn't a big deal, and you should just roll with that. Now, one of the things that the Prime Minister talked about, and also Minister of State for the Public Service, Pete Glover-Roll, talked about, and this isn't a bash the PLP, it just is confronting reality, as far as I'm concerned, is this notion that the economy reopened when the PLP came to power, and that the economic growth that we've seen was as a result of the Progressive Liberal Party, let's say in 2021, okay? Or if you want to look at fiscal year 2021, 2022. Now, I make no secret about thinking that Menace was a disaster. That's my considered opinion. And I make no secret that I felt dramatically different about how the country is operating after he left office. But I will say this. The notion that the Progressive Liberal Party, since September of 2021 to December 31st, 2021, is responsible for the economy growing by 14% in 2021 is just not in line with reality. First, the economy wasn't shut down. Now, were there things that were hindering the economy returning to a level of robustness that we now see that was markedly different in the third quarter of 2021? Yes. But the notion that the economy was not growing before the Progressive Liberal Party came to office just is not in line with the facts. Okay? It's just not in line with the facts. And here's what someone told me recently. And I knew this, but someone reminded me of it. If your political messaging is effective, then the facts don't really matter. Not to whoever you're trying to buy your message. So if you're trying to convince the general public that, for instance, look at Michael Pintar. He talks about, tell me you didn't break the law. At the end of the day, if that's an effective political message, the logic of what he's saying doesn't really matter. Logically, he doesn't have a good argument. But at the end of the day, if people buy that political messaging, then the facts, the logic, don't really come into play. Because you're not arguing anything in a court of law. You're just playing for public opinion. So the PLP is saying, we reopen the economy, it's for, and the economy, that's not factual, okay? The economy was open. Did you take away some barriers to more economic growth? I believe you did. Okay, if you want to characterize, if in your mind, in your argument, you want to characterize reopen the economy as doing away with curfews, you did do that. Doing away with the travel visa, you did do that. changing the way the COVID-19 rules operated, getting rid of the emergency order. You did do that. All right, and I think the PLP did a good job of removing those barriers and seeing more robust economic growth. But you just did not, in reality, cause 14% growth GDP in 2021 from September 16th to December 31st. It's just not reality. Now, again, Minnis handled things poorly. It isn't like he had some sort of flash of genius and said, well, we're going to do this and do that, and the world's not doing it. We're going to show the world how it's done. No. All right? The world had started opening up. Businesses were ready to get back to business, the hotels, et cetera, X, Y, Z. All right? And there was pent-up demand for tourism. All right? And, in fact, had Minnis not continued some of the poorer ideas that he had implemented, I think the economy would have rebounded even faster. All right? I think one of the things that also contributed to economic growth in 2021 was the fuel charge at BPL. Being at locked in at 10.5%, I think it really provided stability for businesses, for hotels, to plot out a successful reopening future. And that's going to lead me to something else I want to talk about here. Okay? The Prime Minister is talking about the effects of the pandemic, X, Y, Z, yada, yada, yada. Now, if it is your contention that government imposed regulations, restrictions, mandates were harmful to businesses, then how do you turn around and impose 160, in some cases possibly 180% increase in the fuel charge on businesses, impose a increase in the wage burden that the private sector will now bear, and dictate to companies how much profit they can make on items that are imported or grown or manufactured here. How does that align? So you're saying to me that the shocks from the pandemic, the governance during the pandemic damaged businesses, and it wasn't all the government, travel just had stopped pretty much. But you're telling me the shocks hampered economic growth, right? That's your argument, because you're saying when you came to power, you say you reopened the economy, and you changing what Ministos did caused economic growth. So that argument says to me that you're saying that what Ministos did stopped economic growth, which was mandating certain things to the business community. But that's what you're doing. You yourself, the Davis administration, and this is just what it is. And you can look at it as bashing, you can look at it as insulting. I can't help you with all your feelings, right? I'm just trying to be analytical about it. The Davis administration itself is administering shocks to the system in several shocks in a very narrow window of time. Because I want you to watch this now. The fuel charge just started going up. Y'all ain't get y'all bill for October yet. It's coming though. It's going to go up again and again and again. By next summer, the fuel charge is going to be more than double what it is now. So the shock's ain't like you just announce the fuel charge and then, oh, that's the shock. No, the shock is when you got to pay the bill. All right? That was just the nation's reaction to it. We're like, what? But the bill coming due, and it's going to get higher. So the shock with that is going to continue to reverberate throughout the business community for at least 18 months. The country, not the business, everywhere. Okay? The price control measures are time limited, so they say. So we'll see if they can withstand the shock of that if you go hardcore with it. I don't think you will. But if you go hardcore with it, we'll see if the business community can actually withstand those shocks without causing layoffs, without causing a limited in hours that people are working, et cetera. Because make no mistake about it, you're driving up the cost. You have caused the cost of electricity through your action and inaction to go up dramatically. And that's going to reverberate throughout the business community over the next year. It hasn't even started yet. It started in theory because the meter's running, but the bill ain't come yet. It's coming. Okay? You've asked the business community to take on an extra burden, the country, but the business community you're doing extra things to take on an extra burden, an extra cost. One of their highest costs you've driven up dramatically. Okay? Then you say, come January, we're going to add to your biggest costs, which is payroll. Okay? So the two highest categories of costs for businesses, payroll and electricity, are going to go up for lots and lots of businesses, particularly businesses you're talking about. So now we're looking at also the minimum wage going up. And where do a lot of minimum wage workers work? Grocery stores. So you're limiting the profit they can make, but yet you're driving up the cost, their operating costs. And you're telling them they should be sharing the burden. Okay? The government isn't sharing the burden because the government can compel businesses and citizens and anyone in its territory to pay taxes. Businesses cannot. You can't compel me to go buy nothing unless it's mandated by law. And grocery ain't. Medicine ain't. I ain't got to go buy no medicine. I ain't got to go shop at no pharmacy. I don't got to continue spending more money. You say the economy is going to grow, and therefore that should offset their losses. But how does it offset their losses if you limit the profit they can make? Are you just saying it's going to be a volume thing? People are going to buy so much more that you have more volume? Show me what leads you to believe that. And so that's why I don't buy these arguments, all right? But I like the speech. I really have, what do you call it? Is it Stockholm Syndrome? Right? From the Minister Administration. And so I'm on board to see where this thing goes. But let's not play like this isn't something that you're kind of hoping works out. And people aren't afraid for the viability of their businesses because of your actions. Your actions cause this PPL thing. I know you want to run from it. I would cease doing that. I know y'all don't want to talk about it. When I say you, I mean the Davis administration. I know y'all don't want to talk about it, but you did. Okay? You didn't properly follow the fuel hedge program. You didn't let the electricity costs go up in March. And you subsidized BPL's fuel costs, and now you owe Shell $90 million. Or you're going to pay Shell $90 million. And we got to go balance BPL's accounts that they spent on. So I like honesty and clarity. And so say that we're trying this. Say that you believe this will lead to a particular outcome. But let's not pretend that this is by design, that the electricity costs are going to go up 180%. Okay? That you thought this through and this was to be expected and we should all look at huge skyrocketing fuel bills. Okay? Let's not pretend that you're not the ones who are saying the minimum wage has to happen in concurrence with the rise in fuel bills. Let's not pretend that you're not the one who's saying that the profit margins have to be reduced at the same time that you're increasing electricity bills and increasing the wage burden. I can't live in that dreamland with you. So there have been mistakes made. You're trying to get a desired outcome, and I'm willing to go along to see where this goes. But I'm going to be real and I'm going to be critical. So you didn't cause there to be 14% growth in 2021. Now, to the extent that there might have been less growth had you not done certain things, we can have that discussion. But to suggest that all was lost until you came on board in terms of the economy, it's not a reality-based argument. All right? And now, I like what you did. I did think that Minnes's stuff was stupid, that the business having to close at 9 o'clock made not an ounce of bloody sense on earth and harmed economic growth. I do think that. But I don't want you to pretend that nothing was going on prior to that. All right? Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
How important collecting your money can be to the success of your business. Start your relationship with Fidelity today so that we can show you the many options available to you with our merchant services. From click and pay options online to merchant terminals and e-commerce options. We're here to help your business succeed. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit any of our branches.
You do coffee your way. Double shot decaf, cappuccino.
Light roast, Colombian, no milk.
You do vacations your way.
Hiking boots, tent, mountains.
5-star hotels and theater.
And now you can do insurance your way.
Online.
Email.
Chat.
WhatsApp.
Or in branch. For home, car, travel, boat, or business insurance, do it anyway with NUA Insurance Agents and Brokers. Visit NUAinsurance.com, call, or stop by a branch today.
At Ron's Electric Motors, they repair and rewind all major brands of electric motors, including water pumps, generators and the generator's back end, welding machines, electric lifts, air compressors, battery chargers, and more. They're equipped to handle up to 850 kilowatts and rewind up to 450 horsepower motors. They're conveniently located on the corner of Wolf and Clarence Roads and are open weekdays 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturdays till noon. They offer 24 hours emergency assistance. You can reach them at 242-356-0249.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Good afternoon, Bahamas. Welcome back to The Revolution here on Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM. My name is Juan McCartney. Good to see you with us. I also want to say about the Prime Minister's speech, he did indicate that they're willing to compromise on certain things. They are going to meet with the grocers. Is it the grocers or the pharmacists? They're going to meet with some stakeholders today. I believe it's the pharmacists. And we'll see how that all shakes out. But here's my advice politically to you, and then I'll get into your text messages, right? Always keep this number in mind when, if I'm the PLP and the FNM, but particularly the PLP, because those who are in power have the most to lose, right? You should put this number on your mirror when you wake up in the morning. You can see it. When you brush your teeth, you can see it, right? So put this number, 34. Okay? I'm gonna put it on my well, not your rear view mirror, maybe your side mirror. I'm going to put the number 34 on my mirror in the morning, so when I brush my teeth, I can see it, right? I'm gonna frame it in a little plaque in my house. I'm going to put it on the door so that when I'm leaving out my house, I can see it. I'm going to put it, you guys get drivers, so I'm going to put it on the back of the seat, head cushion, right? 34. Every cabinet minister, every MP should keep that number in mind every day. 34% of the electorate got you into power. Okay? There is still 66% of the electorate out there who couldn't be bothered to get out of bed to go vote for you guys. I think a lot of that was just menace. The thought of voting. 66% of the electorate either did not vote for the current administration or voted, 67% of the electorate did not vote for the current administration, whether that was through not showing up to vote or voting for somebody else. Now, a win's a win, a W's a W. But you have very little room for error. And if by some chance you motivate just the people who didn't go out to vote in the last election, if you motivate enough of them to just go out and vote against you, and the people who vote for the F&M come out and vote again, because I'll be real with you, if you vote for Menace and there's an F&M, I don't know what in Jesus' name could cause you to vote against the F&M this time. 34% of the electorate got you guys into power. That's a seriously low number to come in and act like you have an overwhelming mandate to start tinkering and doing all these things that we're not really used to. I'd keep that in mind if were I you. And I'm not trying to freak you out, but I'll say this because I've seen this movie over and over and over. They've remade it so many times. One moment, it's thunderous applause and banging on tables and it's a good old time in Parliament. And the next moment, you're gone. I'm not saying that to scare you. I'm not saying that to intimidate you. I'm saying that because I've seen it over and over and over again. Happened to people who got elected with a much stronger percentage of the electorate voting for him than you guys. I would keep that in mind every single day. I like some of the things you're doing. Some of the things you're doing are not well thought out and are not going to go down good with the public, and I don't know that they're going to yield the desired results. You've messed up a few things. It's a year in. I'm willing to see where this goes, and you don't need my vote, even though I did vote for you. But keep in mind that you're in a precarious position, and many people have fallen very far politically in the space of a day in this Bahamas, time and time and time and time again. Okay. We got a call. Let's do a call. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Revolution.
Hey, a pleasant good afternoon. Pleasant good afternoon, Juan. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Great.
I made several points.
Go ahead.
Okay, great. Thank you. Let me ask you a question to start off before I even delve into anything.
Sure.
I know that you continue to say that it's the business community that bears the brunt of the cost, right?
Mm-hmm.
For the economy. But in actuality, Juan, if you could correct that precipice that you're standing on, I think that you would appreciate that Mr. Davis, as Prime Minister, he is as surely brave as he is wise. And you would come to love and fully respect his political diversity, which is all-encompassing.
I do love him.
Right? And so I say that to say this one. It is the actual people who are the end users at the end of the chain who always bears the brunt, not only of the business community success, the citizens in the country bears the cost of the business community failures, of the business community growth, and of their success. The citizens in every country also bears the cost, one, of the government's success or of the government's failures or of the government's shortcomings. And so it is the people at the end of any equation as it relates to business anywhere in the world that bears the cost, one. And if you appreciate that very precipice, then you would appreciate these points, one. When you look at even with stability in fuel costs in our country during the COVID-19, well, I should say the height of the COVID-19 impact on our country, you still had the two leading hotels. One, you had Atlantis, you had Bahama, who laid off between 10 to 15% of their staff, right? You had Bahama, who seeks to be a good corporate citizen in providing some kind of package with groceries. You had leading companies like Cisco through Bahamas Food Services, the biggest food supplier in our country, bar none, right? You had Juan, but you had Kim Bahamas, and the list goes on and on, with companies who directly stated they are reducing their staff size or making staff redundant because of the bad policy implementation and decision making of the former competent and who I'm branded incompetent authority, the former prime minister.
I agree.
Because of the poor decision making and so on. As a direct consequence of his decision making, even in the pandemic, he made it far worse.
I'm with you.
Had to be,
We agree.
Now,
Yeah.
Now, Juan, the next point I want to take you on is this. There's never a good time. Even in good times, you would find the most wealthy among us, the biggest companies among us, they want to continue growing and getting more and more and more. They never want to give back. Very rarely you find a situation such as the Bahama Group that is prepared to give back even in dire times. And so I said it to say, one, it's never a good time for a minimum wage increase, right? It's never going to be a good time for companies to pay a little more in order to shoulder the burden. The Prime Minister is absolutely correct, Juan. I share his thinking wholeheartedly. And let me bring you to this point, Juan. Let me bring you to this third point, Juan. It is the government of the Bahamas. If one conducted a close analysis and assessment on the policies, legislation, and regulatory framework for taxation in the country, it is the government of the Bahamas who actually sets up businesses to either succeed greatly or to make it difficult in business based on their tax regime, based on their regulatory policies, and based on their economic legislation policies in the country. They either make it more difficult or they make it more progressive for business to succeed in our country. And so therefore, one, the biggest partner in business in this country, or they make it more difficult for behemoths to access financing through the local financing institutions, who either increase the interest rate, increase their fee structure for conducting business for them, etc., or make it more difficult for you to access the funding. And so, in actuality, one, the government of the Bahamas is the biggest partner to business, either positively or negatively, or having a zero net effect.
I agree to some extent.
I'm saying all of this to say, one, and these are notes that I made listening to your conversation, and I really appreciate your conversation. Let me just add that because it's stimulating, and it either invokes source of agreement or source of disagreement, which can either go strong towards your point or strong against your point. But at the end of the day, it's still all positive because it is good dialogue that edifies the nation at the end of the day. And so what I'm saying is to say, look, if the Bahamian citizens and all other citizens who reside in our country, pardon me?
I said thank you, but go ahead.
All right. If the Bahamian citizens and all other citizens who reside in our country are the ones who pay the price for the business community conducting business and for the government of the Bahamas executing policies and legislation and conducting governance of our country, then at the end of the day, I appreciate right now that we have a prime minister, not saying that we didn't have some in the past, right? Because former Prime Minister Perry Christie certainly was one. Former Prime Minister Dylan and Finland, God rest his soul, certainly was one. And to some degree, I would say that former Prime Minister Hubert Ingram was also one, right? Who put the people at the center of their decision making. We have a Prime Minister right now, one, in Philip Brave Davis KC. We ought to appreciate that someone is finally reaching back and being all encompassing in their thinking and ensuring that all of the players or all of the stakeholders are considered. We want a situation where we all can win or we all can survive in our own country. We don't want a situation where capitalism at the end of the day takes root in a small island developing state where we don't manufacture anything, one, where we depend heavily on other first world nations for importation of everything. Therefore, that capitalist approach, one, that would not work in this kind of society if the government is not the equalizer. Thank God for Philip Brave Davis, one, his thinking. Thank God for his Minister of Economics, Michael Akita, thank God for his financial secretary.
I got a bouncer, Anton.
And I'll end right there, Juan. I thank you for giving me the window to make those contributions. I had some more points, but I'll end right there. Thank you, Juan, and God bless.
Okay, appreciate you. All right. Let's see if we have enough time to get to any text messages. I can't take no more phone call. Anton dealt with the phone call section adequately. Says the FNM made its bed regarding COVID-19. At the end of the day, the Bahamas came out ready to do business. If not for the recession, COVID-19 would be a distant memory. But we have the recession. This is the government, COVID-19. They have to roll up their sleeves and get to work. Right. This says, Juan, have you noticed the demand for the grocers and pharmaceuticals to carry the burden, but when it came to the gaming operations, which is a vice and not a need when compared to food and medicines, and they said the government is attacking black businesses, where's that same energy? Well, what is this? This says, why you let Anton... I mean, it's fine. I'll be back, I think I'm here tomorrow. I gotta double check. This says, hey, Juan, in my opinion, the majority of poor Bahamian people support what the PM is doing with these pharmacists and grocery stores. I think they do too. I think the majority of poor people will support it, but I think that they may not have enough understanding at the moment or information about how this profit margin stuff works that tells them they're in such a precarious position. Because yes, you want to be like, okay, great. I don't have to pay as much for medicine. I don't have to pay as much for grocery. I'm down. Let's do it. Whatever you got to do, go do that. But then when you talk about, okay, well, does that mean people will be laid off? Does that mean hours will be reduced? Does that mean businesses will close, impacting the overall economy? They're thinking about their own personal shopping experience, which is fine, but that's not how the broader economy works. It says it was a bad idea to reduce pharmaceutical margins. Who will be next? When the social services budget gets bigger every year, we're headed in the wrong direction. This action of the government will cause more pain than relief. It'll also increase the burden on NIB. Eventually, we'll all be looking to the government for assistance. Who will foot the bill? I think the thing about the price control thing that gives me some sort of hope is that they're going to expire, apparently, in January. So, Good day to you, sir. Your help in contacting the Treasury. The Treasury's not answering the phone. I can't do that for you at the moment. I'm sorry. One, the PM needs to be frank with the public about the outlook before the holidays are upon us. In the short term, households need to be very frugal with their resources. It says, what proof does the government have that cost savings are not being passed on? The PM's taking advice from inexperienced technocrats in the Ministry of Finance, for which he'll pay in the next few years. It says, imagine if the stores were to follow suit with the pharmacies. The government's not considering middlemen. They're selfish and only traveling and taking care of themselves and their families. It says, this is from earlier, Takeoff was by far the best of the Migos, and the sad part was that he was the most laid back of the group. Yeah, absolutely. It may sound silly to some of you. I've never met the Migos. They came to Bahamas numerous times, but I connected with them through their music, and that connection is valid in terms of I do feel a sense of what a waste and a senseless act of violence to take somebody so talented off the planet. This is a great show as usual. The next member of the Migos is the Weekly. And with the new day came travel to all ends of the earth with unbelievable delegations. Yeah, this has helped me one. The government says they won't tolerate these associations breaking the law, but yet they're breaking the law with e-procurement. Also, what's happened now is simple. The government is constrained because of all of the past bad borrowing and wasteful spending, so they can't go to the international markets and is limited in the local markets. So there's one last handing fruit. Bahamian businesses, brace for it, more is coming. I do agree with your broader points about the markets. It says, I hear the PM and think his intentions are good, but they should just remove VAT from pharmaceuticals for 6 months or something, and they need to work hard to put mechanisms in place to collect property taxes, etc. Politicians keep avoiding the tough conversations of work necessary to really lift people out of less fortunate situations. Anyway, I gotta go. I'm sorry I can't get to all these. I'm running out of time because I'm eating into Lang's time now. So, but these are a lot of text. I'm going to say this. I think that the Prime Minister is well-intentioned. I also think that some of these decisions are not very well advised. And we'll see how it all shakes out. I'm not trying to bash anyone. I really am a fan of the Prime Minister, I won't lie. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm in some alternate universe where a lot of this stuff makes sense to me. It's just not going to happen. All right, we got to get out of here. Think I'm back tomorrow. We'll see. In the event, you'll be in good hands. Take care out there and have a great day, Bahamas.